Morning all, how are you doing? Morning Ian, Christian, Yotko, Andrew, John. I can't see properly this morning, my eyes are broken. John, Neo, Mumo, Gregors, Genia, Oliver, Evans, Ismet, Dion, JC, how are we doing? Morning Bradley. So I'm a bit late this morning. Got 6 minutes to the open. So news-wise today, obviously it's non-farm payroll day. Morning Damo. So we have no news today. It's a bank holiday in Japan, interestingly enough. Quite often on bank holidays in Japan, we get a lot of movement on the yen, mainly caused by the US. So might be an interesting day today, especially with non-farm payroll. So we'll see what happens there, but can be very hit and miss. We quite often get big yen moves for some reason, but they just do. So basically 12:30 this afternoon, obviously everything kicks off. We got the unemployment rate for the Canadian dollar and the US dollar. So these are the two main drivers today. And then we've got PMIs, which are coming out half an hour after the New York Open. So busy afternoon, but nothing this morning. So typically on a non-farm payroll day, we tend to get a fairly weak morning session. If you look at the ADRs so far today, there is nothing. So it's usually quite quiet the morning of non-farm because there's no point in making any big speculative moves in any direction on anything because most things are affected by the US dollar. So we tend to get a bit of a sideways move. And then obviously everything kicks off in the afternoon when we know what is happening with the unemployment figures. So not expecting a lot today. No ADRs. Obviously, there's lots of weekly range hits, which could well just all get undone today. So it is Friday. So far today, haven't banked anything. Did 1.58% yesterday. Just sitting in drawdown and everything at the moment. Oil is moving back nicely. So we looked at this yesterday. So this is the double bottom bounce going on from the previous monthly low. So we hit it, bounced, hit it, bounced, hit it, bounced. So this is looking like this is going to hold up. So next stop we would expect to be $90 a barrel, then up to that target of $100 a barrel, and then onwards from there. So hopefully this will hold. I've got my stops underneath that low there, basically, in case, but we'll see. It's holding at the moment anyway, so fingers crossed. There's not a lot else really I can bank. CAD Swiss, I got out of one yesterday. I posted this in the Telegram group. So I took off one CAD Swiss yesterday because we are approaching this sort of kind of like a 2-3 day balance we went into. It's just a weird multi-level range, basically. But potentially, obviously, if we're going to continue on a down leg, we'd be looking for a retracement and drop. If we're going to break structure out of this range and do more up legs, we should be looking for a pullback and long. So I exited one there. If it pulls back really deep back into that range, I'll add that position back on again and get out again when we push back up. But pushing quite nicely so far today. So I've got quite a lot I can bank. I can bank about 1.2 to about 2.5%, 3%. But I'm just going to hold for the morning, see where we go, and make some decisions ahead of non-farm payroll later. So looking at the DAX, we haven't got any gaps today. Well, we have got a very small gap. It's not a very good gap, basically. When we got a low and a push up, and then we open and push back into the middle of that little bit at the end, it's just like probably done. So I wouldn't say they're going to run for the gap today, but could go either way. So when you look at the DAX, obviously we're on day 4 of a rally. Very much due a pullback, little profit take on this move. We've got this whacking great gap to the downside still in play at the moment. So we'll see where we go today. But upside, we're stuck in the range. So we'd be looking at the 2-week high, which is obviously the resistance to the upside. Downside, it's yesterday's low, really. After that massive rally we had yesterday morning, which is well beyond ADR today. So the only real support we've got to the downside before yesterday's low is there, which is basically here. So downside is very simple. First stop is there, upside there. So it's roughly half an ADR-ish of movement in either direction. So we'll see where we go. Excuse me, bear with me a sec. What's the time? Got 30 seconds to the open. So yesterday, pretty good day. Banked 2.5% again yesterday. Bit of a messy. Yesterday afternoon was just a mess. It was a horrible, horrible session yesterday, New York. Nice, easy DAX yesterday, though. Obviously, we just broke out yesterday and did not look back. So fingers crossed we get another one of those. But there's your downside target. And obviously, upside target is there. Oops. So plenty of room to get a 2R move this morning. If we get any movement, obviously could be just really, really quiet today. So we'll see. See where we go. Market's open. No pre-market range today. Too small. 162. Minimum range is 189, which is 10% of ADR. So just not enough range today to take a break. So I'll be taking a break of the 5-minute opening range candle, which is cash balance. See where we go from there. Morning, everybody else I haven't said morning to. Can't remember where I got to in the list. Leshy, James, Michael, Amy, Monkey, Kenley, morning. Wow. Exciting this morning, isn't it? So no volume coming in this morning at all. A little bit of upside in the NASDAQ and the S&P. Dead. So it might be a bit of a slow morning. We'll see. There's no volume coming in. Earnings fortnight is pretty much over as well now. We had yesterday, where are we? Second, aren't we? Third. So the aftermarket yesterday, we had Apple, Coinbase, and Shopify are the main three there. There's no earnings today. And then next week, it all starts to kind of slow a little bit. We have got earnings next week, but there's only a couple of big ones in there. Roblox, AMC, Uber, and Fiverr, the main players, and Gilead as well. Gilead are very big. But it's all starting to slow down, so volume's going to start to drop a little bit. Overnight news, while we're waiting for that market to move, wasn't an awful lot of overnight news. It's mainly to do with earnings. So if we go back and look, you've got quite a lot of earnings coming out. So Apple's up, so we would expect some movement upside on the NASDAQ, but we've had quite a good rally. So it may be that they already just factored in that movement and we're not going to get anything. But for FX move, not an awful lot. Nothing from Japan specifically. So yeah, just very, very quiet. Calm before the storm, non-farm payroll, basically. Right, so there's your 5-minute candle. We've got 2 minutes to go. So there's your gap fill done. If anybody was in doubt whether or not the gap fill was done, now it is. So we can eliminate for that from the equation. And we've got that whacking great downside gap from last week. So we will see where we go. I'll just wait for this one to come in and then we'll go and have a look at the FX side. Morning, Mac. In fact, while we're waiting for this 5-minute candle to go in, we'll look at FX because it's going to be a fairly quick one this morning. There's no ADRs. And RSIs are pretty much the same as yesterday. So there's not going to be a lot of movement this morning. So there's not really a lot, I don't think, to look at today with the FX market. So probably be fairly quick session today. But the RSIs are all pretty much the same as yesterday, extended on the 4 hour on the Aussie Swiss, and there's quite a few yen extensions to the upside. So short on that one. Aussie dollar yen, you could get in short if you wanted to. I'm short on the US dollar yen. The CAD Swiss, we know we've had a big push up on that. We were waiting for that pullback, so you could take a short on that. However, I think this is probably undoing that move, so I'm long obviously at the moment on that one. But there is a 4 hour extension and an hourly extension on the CAD Swiss. But this is, I think, got further to go basically. And then we got the New Zealand dollar Swiss. So a lot of this is basically the Swiss franc unraveling the moves that we had basically caused by the safe haven runs. So, but there's a nice potential short opportunity on that one, on the 4 hour and the hourly. And then we got US dollar CAD, which is just an extension on the hourly. So I'm in that one, first entry yesterday there. I've got to put TP on that one actually. Let's put TP on that while I'm here. That propulsion gap. There, TP on that long. That's coming out of here, but there's no point in analyzing anything to do with anything really today, because it's all going to be controlled by non-farm payroll. So it's all down to basically what happens this afternoon with the unemployment rate as to where everything goes. So you can say, yeah, looks like it's a nice little bounce potentially out of that balance area, but if the news comes out and drives the US dollar down, no technical is going to make any difference. It's all about the fundamentals today. So, right. So there's your initial cash balance in 247, max range 379. So taking a break of this candle. If it decides it wants to go anywhere today, I have a suspicious feeling we might just do that for an hour and a half. Who knows? But there's no volume is there today, so. Dangerous days when it's like this. When you get no volume, quite often the market will just flip-flop around 1R and go into rotation. So if we can get a push down to 2R today in any direction, I think you'll probably be fairly lucky. So watch that low. And we know that high is your upside resistance. Doesn't look like there's a lot of chance of it getting there this morning, does it? So I suspect we're just going to flip-flop around today. Literally not moving, is it? So, morning, Dan. Yen holiday, yep. So we quite often get yen movement on yen holidays. Wrong one. Where's my DAX gone? Yeah, so we quite often get yen movement on yen holidays, Japan holidays, but it's non-farm payroll day today, so I don't think we'll get an awful lot. US dollar yen came down again yesterday, so we had a drop at the open, and then we had that big spike down, and it pushed back up out of this propulsion move. So it's basically this support. Short the DAX. So triggered on the DAX short. TP down there. So yeah, I think again, there's no need for any Japanese intervention when the market is dropping. So obviously we had this period where we've just sat sideways and done nothing. We looked like we were starting to move. Then the Japanese made that cock up with their policy. We've undone 50% of that move, which is what I kind of suspected we would do. And now it's a case of where is non-farm payroll going to take the US dollar? If we get negative numbers, i.e. unemployment rate goes up in the US and up in Canada this afternoon, US dollar's coming down, no needs for intervention. If it has positive unemployment rate, we're going to get a move back towards these highs. And then if we break those highs, then we are potentially going to get that move coming in. So I don't think anything's going to happen today. So Not this morning anyway, but this afternoon, anything can happen. But it's the first week of the month as well. So it's all getting to the point where there's not really any need to do a lot of big movement today. Beginning of the month, it's end of month, end of quarter, you tend to get the biggest moves. We're coming into Black Friday soon as well. Market tends to have a little bit of a sleep before that as well. It's just very odd. Don't know why, it just does. But anyway, there we go. So that's the analysis this morning. There isn't really a lot. I'm not expecting a lot of movement. The DAX has attempted to go short and decided it can't be bothered. So looks like it's going to be one of those mornings where it's time to go and do something else. Pound New Zealand, we can have a look at that. Morning outro. Pound New Zealand. I'll run through the positions I'm in as well. Euro Swiss has just hit an ADR, so we've got some movement on the Swiss franc by the looks of things. So Pound New Zealand is just pulling back on that leg at the minute. So great level, is it? There's no obvious levels really. That area basically is kind of where we are. So it's either doing that or we're just continuing down. There's no real extensions on this at the moment. There's no trades on it. Could have got one out of there. There's a double bottom possibility today. But we are kind of floating. There's multiple areas within that move, basically, that you could look at as support resistance zones. But nothing sort of really certain anywhere. So you got all those levels, basically, which could act as reaction points. Less so that one. Yeah, don't know. Bit flat today, isn't it? Just all a bit meh. Morning, Peter. Morning, AZ. Super lad today. What's that mean? Is that a typo? Morning, Harold. Super lad. Right, let's go through my positions and see where we are. So Aussie CAD got 2 positions on short at the moment. Had a break even on this last night. We're just pulling back into potential support for a bounce. We've got a nice propulsion move out of that accumulation as well. So potentially doing that, or we're just going to run, whichever way, I don't care. My target at the moment is all the way down there, but I think that's a little bit optimistic. I think even that's a little bit optimistic at the moment. So I'm probably going to move up to previous day's low, which is ADR. I've got 2 positions on that now, so that's still a nice profit. DAX is pushing back up. Got a bit of volatility just come in. Just had some volume come in on all markets. Big order, I think. Yeah, Aussie CAD short at the moment. Looking for a pullback on this move. Difficult to measure it really, but kind of that is the main leg I think we're looking for a pullback on. We've done a 38 retracement on it, so it could just be that we're going to do a kind of a pullback into support and break. But again, this is going to be driven today by the Canadian dollar. So we're either going to drop on unemployment or we're going to pop, one or the other. Aussie dollar Swiss. Again, this one is undoing all of the Swiss franc moves. This is a monster, absolute monster leg up here. We literally just had a flag break in the middle, so there's no profit take move on this yet. So I'm looking for a good, strong pullback on this at some point, but there's no catalyst to drive this one today. We've just broken out of that weekly high as well. So we did hit it and accumulate around it. We've broken it. So potentially we could be looking at testing these monthly highs. That one, really, that's not a great level, but that propulsion gap is next target 125 ADR. I've got 3 positions on this. So maybe needing to scale into this, but if it gets further extended, it's an even faster big drop back down. So not particularly worried about it, but not really going anywhere much at the moment. DAX and all the indices starting to push up a little bit. Not a lot. Aussie New Zealand, I've got 4 on this. Again, looking for it to pull back down into this propulsion move, which we then just ground away from. It's just not moving. So we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days sideways. Stuck, can't get out, can't do anything with it at the moment. Aussie US, first entry on that one I took yesterday. So looking for a pullback on that leg, just down into that propulsion gap, which is previous resistance. So looking for that to become support if we're going to do a leg up. But again, that's going to be driven this afternoon by the unemployment rate. CAD Swiss, again, unemployment rate is going to drive this one this afternoon. What I want this afternoon is a big, strong move to the upside on unemployment. So basically, unemployment rate to come down, driving the CAD and the US dollar up, so I can get out of some of this US dollar and CAD. And then a complete A-shaped recovery because the market doesn't really bat an eyelid about it. And that will basically get me out of everything US dollar and CAD. So a whipsaw would be lovely. We'll see what happens. Euro odd. That one, just single position on that one at the moment. That was taken 2 days ago. Why have I not got a target on that? Good. So basically just looking for a retest of that low, basically. Up to there, see if we can get a move up there. We've got this double bottom, which is holding at the moment. So that might be your structure break, at least testing that level there at some point. If it breaks down, be adding positions on. There's your monthly low. So there's a second entry will go on there. And then obviously if we need more down there. It's just not moving this DAX, it's stuck. So that's your initial opening range. We're bang in the middle of it. It's just not going anywhere today. So wait and see. Euro New Zealand. So got 4 on that one. Got out of one on Wednesday. We have pulled down further. There's my average. Literally one down day is all I need. An ADR hit to the downside gets me out of this with a nice profit at that propulsion gap. So that's my target to the downside, which is basically a 50% retracement on that leg in case it goes for another up leg. But we've broken out of that accumulation. So this is either a price discovery move, which is going to fail and push back up, or in which case then I'll get that position back on again. Or it is a price discovery, which is going to succeed and we're going to drop. We'll probably end up back down here. But euro and odd got no news. So we're just waiting for the US dollar, which will shake up everything today anyway. So pound odd. One long on that one, single position, first entry, looking for a push up into propulsion. That was the H1 extension yesterday. And US dollar CAD. So that was, again, first entry yesterday on that RSI extension to the downside, looking for a push back up into there. Again, that's going to move on the news. And the US dollar yen. As we know, this one's more about the intervention. So I'm toying with the idea basically this afternoon. DAX is trying to put a new low in. We've just put in an outside bar. It's just no, we have got nothing today, no direction at all. So we just put in an outside bar, which is indecision. So break of this outside bar should give us an idea on the next sort of 10, 15 minutes direction. So wait for this bar to close and then we'll see where we go on the next one, but really no direction today so far. So US dollar yen, what I'm going to do ahead of non-farm payroll, basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bank. So anything that's a decent amount of profit, I will stick in the bank. So I've got one US dollar yen, which is about 0.25%, which I will put down there. And I've got that oil move, and I've got that CAD Swiss as well. So this is all going to go in the bank. Anything related to the US dollar ahead of non-farm payroll, anything related to the Canadian dollar is going in the bank because there's only one of two things is going to happen. either this profit is going to disappear and it's all going to become drawdown if the news goes against me, or the news is going to go my way and I'm going to put that in the bank and then these will come into profit. So it's a win-win situation. There's no point in leaving a couple of % of profit sitting on the table and it possibly vanishing this afternoon. If the price does go against me, I can add these positions back on and bank them again tomorrow or Monday, can't I? So I will be doing some banking. US dollar yen is one of the things, because obviously I've got positions on in both directions on both of these. So it doesn't make sense to hold these through non-farm. So I will be taking off profit. US dollar yen is one of those. So that position is going to come off. I'll leave that one in place. There's not much point in taking that one off. You've got the option as well when you've got big news events coming. You can break even positions, obviously. So if it pushes up against you, you can break even that rather than taking drawdown on it. And then obviously you're going to add another position up there anyway. So it just takes that off the table. Personal choice. There's no right or wrong. But there is an option to do that. The danger with that is obviously you get a whipsaw on the news and you just get taken out of that position for no reason and then it goes your way. So personally, I don't like to do that unless I've got a lot on. If I've got a very high amount of drawdown on something, breaking even is probably not a bad idea. But at the moment, there's nothing in any danger, really. Oil, as we know, that one's having a little bit of a push this morning. Again, we'll probably find we just do something like that. We've got this high, yesterday's high and the previous day's high, which is this support here. Yeah. That's what we've got to get through, this propulsion gap. If we can break this propulsion gap, we've got an upside target of 125 ADR, potentially today. Not sure we'll get there today. Depends what non-farm does, really. But so again, oil, I've got two positions on down here, which are in a nice amount of profit. So I shall be having a look at those and taking those off ahead of the news. But if we break that level, you know, we're looking at coming all the way back up to $90 a barrel and then onwards from there. So if this bottom's going to hold, great. If this bottom isn't going to hold, there's no point in taking losses on those or drawdown. So they will come off ahead of NFP. There we go. That's my positions. So we'll be banking something today, but it's all down to the news. Possible pullback on the Dow. Don't know. Dow's this afternoon. Yeah. All the indices basically are due a pullback. Look, I mean, we should be getting a profit take on that leg. Whether it comes today or not is going to be purely down to the news this afternoon. The stock market is going to move dependent on what happens with unemployment. If they need to push more money into the US dollar because unemployment starts to drop, they will pull money out of stocks. Therefore, indices will drop. If they decide that the US dollar is going to weaken, they'll put it into stocks. So all of these instruments are going to move on non-farm payroll. The direction is purely down to the fundamental. So, yeah, there's a profit take available, and they will take it today if the news says they should not be investing in stocks. If the news says you should be investing in stocks because we've got a weak US dollar, they won't profit take it yet. They'll add. So, down to the news. Got a tiny little gap to fill on a lot of these indices. The NASDAQ, I think it's the NASDAQ, has filled. Was it the Dow? No, the Dow filled the gap. The NASDAQ and the S&P haven't. And we've got that whacking great gap to fill on the DAX as well. So I think, personally, the way that everything is going at the moment, I think this is still a bear market. I do not think we are back in a bull market yet. A lot of speculators are saying this is the next leg up starting now. I think personally, this is just part of another big down leg. Where's my DAX data gone? Look at the S&P. We've made a lower high. I think basically this level here, the pre-market collapse high, is what the market called as a low when we entered into this bear volatile market. We didn't hit it. I think we are still putting in a down leg towards that level. So this is basically where we were before COVID. This unrealistic recovery during companies losing money and their stock prices going up is what caused this bear volatile market to hit. I think we've still got to come and test that level, because we were due at that point some kind of pullback, some kind of thing to go wrong in the stock market. It just so happens a pandemic hit. So I think there's still a correction in play here, and another down leg, but we will see. So everything I'm looking at from a fundamental perspective would say, yes, we should be getting a pullback today, but it's all going to be down to what happens with that US dollar. So upside, you've got a nice 150. So if we do get a drop in the US dollar, we're going to get a rally in the stock market. You want to be selling at 150 ADR today. But we will see. It's all down to non-farm, basically, or rather the unemployment rate. So if you look at the fundamentals where we are at the minute, DAX is just not doing anything today. Look. I'm just toying with the idea because I've got a break even at the minute. I'm toying with the idea of, I'll give it this candle. If we don't break these lows off the back of this 5-minute candle, I might just scrap this today because there's a danger of literally just doing that today. So you're just going to lock in a useless loss. There's no volume, as you can see. So there's just no point in being in this market. No one's driving it anywhere. So therefore, it's sheer luck whether or not we get a sell order come in or not. If we don't, you're just going to do that and you're just going to be in loss today. So I'm probably just going to scrap this today. I'll give it another 5 minutes. Give it this candle, really. It does seem bearish at the moment. If you look at all the indexes, they all seem, a little bearish. We're putting in, the Globex session is putting in bearish market structure, but no volume. So market can't move without volume. So we'll give it 5 minutes and see where it goes, but not really interested. What was I talking about? Brain's gone. Bearish. Oh yeah, fundamentals. So basically unemployment obviously is one of the key drivers for FX, and these figures affect whether or not they can change interest rates up or down. So if unemployment is coming down or is stable, there is a availability to increase interest rates, because increasing interest rates increases unemployment. So these are key figures, key fundamental drivers, the unemployment rate, which is why we focus on them. So as you can see with the US at the moment, unemployment is stable, and with the Canadian, unemployment is stable, but both are very high. These are high figures, 5.5 and 3.8 are much higher than they want them to be. So if these tick up, it means that you're just not going to be able to do anything with your interest rates, which is more in line with potentially reducing interest rates. If this continues to rise, it will put pressure on that being dropped. If that's coming down, as that is going up, that will come down, which will drive the currency down. So key figures are no idea what we're going to get today. So it's a real mystery today. We're forecasting unemployment to go up in Canada and to remain stable in the US. So if we get anything more than a 0.1 variance off of those numbers, you're going to get a big move. A 0.1 variance, probably a whipsaw, but anything above that, you're going to get some big moves up or down. So that's what the indices will do. This is doing nothing. I'm losing interest rapidly in the DAX this morning. I think I'm going to scrap it. It's an inside bar. It's like inside bars and outside bars are indecision candles. So basically, we've opened, put in a little bit of a bear move, which the bulls put a stop to. Put in a bit of a bull move, which the bears put a stop to. But it was an outside bar. So we had the bulls trying to move it, the bears trying to move it, and nobody won. Then we've moved down, rejected the last sell move. So the buyers took control back. And now we're putting an inside bar in on that candle because the sellers haven't got enough volume to go short and the buyers can't get them back to where they want to be. So best case scenario I can see for this is this grinding down for about an hour and you might get around about half-hour move on it. Is there any point? The other thing is these sellers that have tried to make this move today obviously can't get through this level. They're not letting them through. So they might just give up. And if they give up, they might flip long. And if that happens, we're going to end up back up here. There's a danger of you getting hedged in with a grand loss. Just doesn't make sense to sit through this morning because it's literally luck. If we manage to get somebody that decides, yeah, let's sell some of that, we might get a move to the downside. But this inside bar, if this breaks to the upside, I would say probably, look, we just had a gap, right? This is how weak the market is today. We've gapped because there was not enough volume in the market for anybody to place an order there. So we had to jump in price to get an order filled. That's how little volume and liquidity there is today. So I'm calling it today. There's no point in sitting on this, trying to squeeze maybe a couple of $100 out of it. So just going to take that $70 loss and call it a day. It's pointless. No volume. So as traders, the only way we make money is if the market moves. If it ain't moving, you might as well flip a coin and go and stick $100 on a horse in the first race today because you got just as much chance of making money. So give up with that today. The other danger you've got with this is because there's light volume, there's no volume in the market. If somebody does place a large order in any direction, what you're going to find is you get massive slippage because there won't be the volume sitting here to absorb that order. They will have to go and find stocks to fill the order. So you just get these huge candle going and then it will just sit inside that candle for ages because once that order's done, there's nobody else interested. So you just start trading from that position. So you just get big slippage. It's just no point. Non-farm. Pointless day. Dow coming down though? Yeah, you can say Dow's coming down. It was coming down pre-market. Not anymore, is it? Give up. Do something else. Go and play Call of Duty or something. That's today. I should be playing Dead Space this morning because there's nothing else to do. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to build an EA. I've got a strategy to test. Can I ask why, when you take, say, a long, but then need to hedge the DAX, do you intend to add in the direction of the hedge? Or look for a reversal later? Yeah. If go and watch the video, Shand. Explains the strategy. Where am I? If you go and look on the stock index hedge page, the video explains the strategy and the options. It's up to you what you do with a hedge. There's many ways of getting out of a hedge. But I mean, there's lots of ways to hedge basically. So if you get hedged here, for example, and it just does something like that, there's not a lot you can do with it, is there? You're just locking in that loss because there's no direction in the market. The whole point of the hedge is to stop you over trading. If you hedge and it doesn't go anywhere, you can't do anything. So the worst case scenario is you're going to take that loss, that 1%, 1.5%, whatever it is, that risk. If it moves, you look for an area to take the trade off. So if it broke to the downside and I was hedged today, I would be watching price action for a bounce there. That is where I would look to get out. You can either add another position there and position trade and dollar cost average into the move, or you can just get out of your shorts and hope it pushes up and get out, or you can leave it and just stay in it. It's up to you. There's no right or wrong. It's your decision. But on a day like this, I mean, if you get hedged on a day like this, you're stuffed. You literally can't do anything. You're stuffed. So, I remember a holdback. You talked about essentially using SIH of FX. Oh, right. So, yeah, I still have that EA in development at the moment. I haven't done anything more with it. So, the problem with FX is, well, it's not really a problem. It's finding a way to not get overexposed across multiple instruments. So I'm looking at adapting the SIH strategy for FX, and I've built an EA to try and do that. The problem I'm finding in backtesting is with that strategy, it's not an in and out in a day. It's not an intraday strategy. It's a get in and hedge and get out when you can get out. So it runs over multiple days. The problem I'm finding is when I see it playing out, I'm like, well, obviously I would have done that because I saw a support. But you can't teach the EA to do that because it can't find the support the way that I find it. So I know there's an edge there, but I'm trying to find a way to get the EA to execute it properly. And I'm struggling a little bit in finding logic to identify levels in the right way. There's many ways to do it. And also there's a distance thing with hedges as well. The difficulty with FX obviously is because if you're not trading it intraday, you're trading it multiple day, you've got news events which cause big spikes. That ruins your hedge. So there's lots of problems logic-wise in building an EA to try and test a hedging strategy because there's lots of things to get around. But I've still got the EA in development. It's one of those things on the side I keep picking up and then doing more testing. I can't remember where I got to in my testing. 19th of October is the last time I did any testing on it. So it's profitable. What's this? So what I've done is so far, I've tested, you can't see down there, but I've tested it on every FX pair. How many tests? I can't remember how many tests I was running. 80 on the 4 hour. Is that right? 80? No, it can't be. There's 191 results there. But as you can probably see, these are all profitable. That's Aussie dollar CAD, Aussie dollar Swiss, all profitable, Aussie dollar yen, all profitable, Aussie New Zealand, all profitable, Aussie US, all profitable. So yeah, there's an edge. There's definitely an edge. But the variance is huge from highest profit to lowest profit. Far too big. So I need to find out what the best thing to do is. I'm coming to the conclusion that the best way to hedge in the FX market is to make sure that this hedge multiplier here is basically a multiple of ADR. And you'll see basically with all of these, what I've done is I've sorted it by the lowest drawdown. And with every single one of these, having your positions spaced an ADR apart is by far the best thing to do. So when you get into a position, you do not hedge it until you've moved an ADR in the opposite direction. This is running on the 4 hour chart. So this is a long-term hedge swing strategy. Intraday, I couldn't get it working properly at all. It's too much. It's just you're trading crap, basically. So, and I've been using EMA closes. So basically the EMA close below an EMA is what decides whether you get in or out of a hedge. So it's just basically playing around moving averages, but trying to get in and out of those swings. And it works very, very, very well. And I've got it profitable on every single instrument. Well, I haven't got it profitable. It is profitable on every single instrument. This isn't obviously curve fit. This is just a system parameter permutation test on every instrument, and it's all profitable. So it's good. But that's as far as I've got. This stuff gets in the way. Couldn't you have held the DAX longer just to see if it picks a direction? Yep, could have done. But what if it picks the wrong direction? If it picks the wrong direction, I'm going to take a $1,500 loss. If it picks the right direction, I might get to target. The volume. Look at this volume today. I mean, I am not in any way, shape, or form in need to make money in this type of market. It's just not moving. You can't make money if the market doesn't move. It's not moving. So it might go, like I said, it might go, it might not. If you want to take that risk, take that risk. It's your choice. Yeah. So you're either going to get hedged today or it is going to break to the downside. Whether it's going to get anywhere near a target, I would say, you know, we're 45 minutes in or 40 minutes in. We haven't gone anywhere yet. If we haven't gone anywhere in 40 minutes, probably not going to go anywhere, is it? Just no point, is there? James, see you later this Arvo. Hopefully better price action. Yeah. Go and watch some paint dry. It's much more fun. We're still gapping, look. See? Look, that's where that candle closed. That's where that candle opened. We're getting all these micro gaps forming in the market at the moment. There is just no liquidity. So you're going to get slippage candles. You're going to get all sorts of crap. It's just leave it. It's non-farm payroll. The market is sitting there. Everybody is just doing something else until those unemployment figures come out today. So do the same as the market. Patience. Wait until 12:30. 12:30 is going to explode. It's a nuclear bomb. We're just on a countdown. So sit there and count. I'm going to get on with other stuff because there's nothing else to do really this morning. FX. So basically 12:30 obviously is the news. So I shall be banking ahead of the news. Anything that's profit is going in there because everything is going to move. It always does on non-farm day. It doesn't matter what the currency is. Everything is just going to move. So bank what you can bank, protect it. If it goes your way, excellent. If it doesn't go your way, excellent. You've banked it. So just protect your capital basically ahead of the news. I'm going to come on at the normal time at 1:20 for the US Open. I was going to come on early and trade non-farm. Well, I don't trade non-farm, but just watch it. But there's no point in me coming on and watching this and going, hey, look, these candlesticks are going up and down really far. And then coming back on again and trading at the Open. So, you know, I'll put something in Telegram to say, hey, look, there's a big move. And everyone will go, why is it moving? And I'll go, as usual. Do you not know about news? So it's the usual thing. But anyway, nothing else to report this morning. So I will leave it there. If you are in the DAX, good luck. Hopefully it drops. If it doesn't, meh. So I'll be back at 1:20 and we will trade the open of the New York session. Hopefully we'll have more volume. But we'll look at the fallout of non-farm and we can decide if we've had a massive move and these indices have moved to ADR. Wow, it's a long way away, ADR today, isn't it? If it's moved to ADR by the time the open happens, we probably won't get a massive amount of movement. So I will take a judgment call when we get to the open as to where price has gone. If you do want to trade it after a large move, might be better just to reduce risk because we might get a bit of a whipsaw. So we'll see what happens anyway. All right, so I'll be back this afternoon at 1:20. If you're not around this afternoon, I'll be back Monday as usual, 7:50 for the Frankfurt session, and then we'll see where we go from there. All right, have a good morning and hopefully see you later.